Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Chemistry Basics to Advance. So today's our topic of discussion is labile and inert complexes. So this is a very important topic for your CSIR, NET and GATE exams. Okay, so let us discuss this one. So what is basically inert and labile complexes? See, this is a kinetic property of a complex. What is that means? If a complex undergoes very fast reaction, then it will be labile, and if it is slow to react, then it will be an inert complex. So it has no relation with the thermodynamic stability or instability, because that depends on the temperature of that compound. Means in some compound it can be thermodynamically stable but kinetically labile, or vice versa. Okay, now how experimentally a complex is called labile or inert. See, if any reaction first to perform any reaction, how a reaction goes, if this is the reaction coordinate and if this is the energy level, then we know that reaction goes like this. It will go through some transition state and then intermediate, and then finally it will form a product. So we know if for a reaction, this is called activation energy, from the ground state of that reactant to the transition state energy level, activation energy. Now if we calculate CFAE, that is crystal field activation energy, that gives us that tells us a compound can be labile or inert. If CFAE is low, that means this energy is low. Then if lower energy is needed, therefore a compound will easily react, then it will be called as labile. And if CFAC is very high, in that case the compound will be slow to react and it will be called as inert. So experimentally, generally a compound is determined labile or inert. But theoretically, how we will do it? What are the measures we should remember? See, if a compound has Jahn-Teller distortion, if you don't know about Jahn-Teller distortion, please see my other video in the description box. So if a compound has high Jahn-Teller distortion, in that case one bond length, metal ligand bond length, will be already weaker than the other bond lengths. Therefore that will be easy to replace. That ligand will be easy to replace. That's why if compound has strong Jahn-Teller distortion, then it will be a labile complex. And if a compound has, let's say, very low CFSC, what is CFSC? That is crystal field stabilization energy. Means if compound is less stabilized, means CFSC is 0 or near about 0, that means a complex is less stabilized. If less stabilized, that means it will be more reactive. So in that case the compound will be labile again, if 0 or low CFSC. On the other hand, if a compound have no Jahn-Teller distortion, okay, or very weak Jahn-Teller distortion, and very high CFSC, in that case a complex will be inert complex. So using these two parameters, Jahn-Teller distortion and CFSC value, we can decide complex can be labile or inert. So this is very important to decide a complex is labile or inert, because for your substitution reaction in octahedral complexes or electron transfer reactions, it is very important to decide if a complex is labile or inert. Then only you can tell in which way the reaction is going and how fast the reaction will go. Now for octahedral complex, let's say first we will check what we have to check first, if strong Jahn-Teller distortion is present in a complex or not. So for octahedral complex, to have a strong Jahn-Teller distortion, what are the electronic configuration which shows strong Jahn-Teller distortion? See, for strong Jahn-Teller distortion, EG labels should be unsymmetrically filled. Okay, unsymmetrically filled. See, these are the electronic configuration. We can see this is T2G label, we all know, and this is EG label for octahedral complexes. See here, 1 electron, and this is symmetrically filled. This EG label, 1 electron, symmetrically filled. Like this is also unsymmetrically filled. In this case, in these three cases, strong Jahn-Teller distortion is observed. So these complexes are generally labile. But again, all are labile, but sometimes you have to compare between two configuration, that which is more labile. Then you have to calculate the CFSC. Okay, so this distance is called del 0 or 10 TQ. Okay, so I have taken 10 TQ value so that it will be easy for you to find out the CFSC, and you have to find the CFSC in modulus, means a positive value you have to take. So I generally find out in this way. So this will be minus 6 TQ if we take total 10 TQ, and this will be 4 TQ. So the CFSC for this configuration, it will be 3 into 4, 12 minus 1 into 6. Oh, sorry, this is 6 and this is 4. Extremely sorry. So it will be 6 TQ, and similarly it will be 18 TQ, and it will be 6 TQ. So when the CFSC value is less, then it will be more labile than this. I already told, is more the CFSC, more it will be inert. All the complexes are labile, but which is having more CFSC, that will be little bit more inert than the others. Okay, like this you have to decide which is more labile or more inert. So this will be more inert than these two. Now what is the second case you have to see? Then second you have to see if CFSC is 0 or not. See, for high spin D5 configuration, D10 and D0 configuration, CFSC is 0. If CFSC is 0, then also the complex will be called as a labile complex. Okay, what is the next condition you have to check among the complexes? See, let's say weak Jahn-Teller distortion is there. So when weak Jahn-Teller distortion is observed when T to G level is unsymmetrically filled, then weak Jahn-Teller distortion is observed. So these are the configurations. See, here no electron, here one extra electron, in this two extra electrons. So these are all unsymmetrically filled T to G level. EG level is symmetrically filled or no electron. So in this case, they are generally show weak Jahn-Teller distortion. So in case of weak Jahn-Teller distortion, you have to calculate the CFSC. If you see the CFSC is very high in these two cases, then it will be called as inert complexes. Inert. And if you see the CFSC is low, then you will call them labile complex. This way you have to differentiate between labile and inert complexes. What is next thing you have to check? If no Jahn-Teller distortion is present. See, these are the three configuration. Here there no Jahn-Teller distortion is there. If no Jahn-Teller distortion is there, that means all bonds are symmetrically, or all bonds are equally attached with the metal. Therefore, they will be difficult to remove. So if no Jahn-Teller distortion, generally they are inert type of complexes. But again, you have to compare. If same these are given, then you have to compare with one complex with the other. Then how you will decide? In that case also, see, if electrons are only in the T to G level, then these configurations will be called as inert complexes. All are inert, but that among that also these two are more inert, and this will be little less inert. Why? Because this has electron in the EG level. Now having electron in the EG level, why makes them a little bit labile? Because see, the d orbitals like dz square and dx square y square composes the EG orbital. Now these orbitals are directed in the x, y and z direction, where the ligand approaches in case of octahedral complexes. So repulsion is more in that directions. So if electron is present in that direction, more repulsion will be there between metal orbital and ligands. Therefore, they will be little bit more labile than the other two. So these are the conditions you should remember to find out a complex is labile or inert. Okay, now one more thing I want to tell, that for a square planar complex, if you see, then generally the 3D metal like nickel, that complexes is normally considered as labile because they are having 4 ligands, coordinating ligands. So you can have more space around nickel compared to octahedral case where 6 electrons are there. Therefore, it is easy for undergo reaction. Therefore, you can call it labile. But in case of 4D or 5D metals like this palladium, platinum, and gold 3+, these cases they crystal field splitting is more for 4D or 5D metals. So if you want to know about the factors which affects the crystal field splitting, that is del 0, you can see my video which will be given in the description box. So in this case, as the splitting is very high, so the square planar complexes of these metals will be inert. So keep that in mind. And now let us discuss a question answer from NEET and GATE question papers. So this is from a GATE question. You have to find out rate of exchange of cyanide ligands in these complexes. Now see, this is a square planar complex of nickel. So this will be labile. So this will be the faster in the rate of exchange. In these two cases, you can see manganese 3+ is there, which is D4, and it is a low spin complex because ligand is a strong field ligand. Therefore, what will happen? This is your electronic configuration. See, so in this case, what will be the CFSE? In this case, CFSE will come 16 DQ. Okay, so this is actually moderately labile or inert, means in moderate situation, and this is D3. So in this D3 case, see, this is the electronic configuration. Here no Jahn-Teller distortion is there, and no electron in the EG level, and therefore it is having CFSE 12 DQ thing. Okay, so this is most inert. This will be most inert complex, and this is labile orbital. In between these two, this will be more inert. Okay, because there is no Jahn-Teller distortion, but here weak Jahn-Teller distortion is present. No Jahn-Teller. So no Jahn-Teller means you have to tell it, you have to keep that complex in inert category. And weak Jahn-Teller distortion is, and there is a moderate value, that means it is more or less labile or inert, but this is less inert than this one. Therefore, what will be the, if this is number 1 and this is number 2 and this is number 3, then what will be the order? So rate of exchange of 1 will be highest, then 2, and then it will be 3. Okay, so let us discuss other questions. So it is given this electronic configuration. You have to tell which configuration is kinetically inert. So first thing, what is the first thing you have to find? If strong Jahn-Teller distortion is present or not. Here strong Jahn-Teller distortion is present, that means this is labile. Then you have to check if CFSE is 0 or not. This is the second point. Say here CFSE is 0. That means this is labile. Then next, what you have to see, if no Jahn-Teller distortion or weak Jahn-Teller distortion is there. See here no Jahn-Teller distortion is there. That means in the inert category, and CFSE is 24 DQ, which is highest. So it will be very inert. In this case, weak Jahn-Teller distortion is there, and what is CFSE? 20 DQ. So here weak Jahn-Teller, if you compare now these two inert, this is also in the inert category. If you compare these two is inert and these two labile. Now which is more labile? First thing is strong Jahn-Teller distortion. So B is the most labile. Okay, then it is most labile. If I arrange in this way, most labile, then this labile will come D. Then in these two inert, which is more labile? Both are inert, but this is more inert. So this is labile compared to this one, because it has weak Jahn-Teller distortion. Okay, therefore it will be C, then the inert A. A is a maximum kinetically inert. So this is your answer. So let's move to the next question. So find inert and labile complexes here. Here see one complex is given where metal is non-transition metal, non-transition. So in case of non-transition metal, you know CF no extra stabilization by CFSC. CFSC is 0. So it will be a labile complex. In these two cases, vanadium is 2 plus and chromium is 3 plus. For these two cases actually electronic configuration will be same because both is D3 in configuration and CFSC will be also same 12DQ and 12DQ. So in this case how will it decide which is more labile or not? So in this case you have to see that chromium oxidation state is +3. So you know crystal field splitting, that is del 0 or 10DQ, depends upon the oxidation state of metal. When oxidation state is high, then the splitting is very high, then splitting is high. If splitting is high means that CFSC value is actually more. This 10DQ means compared to the splitting del 0 value of this complex, this del 0 value will be more, because if the splitting for this complex is this much, the del 0, here the del 0 will be more. Here the del 0 will be more. Therefore, it is more crystal field stabilization energy is more for this one. If crystal field stabilization energy is more, that is it's more inert. Therefore, it will be, if you compare, this will be most inert and this than this. So, question was such that you have to find inert and labile. So, this is inert. This both are inert actually, but this is more inert and this is labile. Okay. So let's move to the next question. So here you have to tell which is most inert. So find out the oxidation state of the metals. So it is chromium 3 plus. Okay, so which is a D3 system. This is iron 2 plus, which is a high spin T6 complex because ligand is weak fickle ligand. And this is chromium 2 plus, which is high spin D4. This is nickel 2 plus, which is D8 system. Okay, so here first what you have to check, any Jahn-Teller distortion is there or not. So this is T2G3, this is T2G4 EG2, and this is T2G3 and EG1, and this is T2G6 and EG2. So here Jahn-Teller, strong Jahn-Teller distortion is there, strong Jahn-Teller. That means it is labile. This is labile. And here you can see if CFSC is 0 anywhere, no, CFSC is not 0. Then you have to check here no Jahn-Teller distortion is there, no Jahn-Teller distortion is there. Generally no Jahn-Teller distortion is means they are in inert category, inert category, inert category. Okay, and this one there is weak Jahn-Teller distortion, weak Jahn-Teller distortion. Okay, so now you have to find the CFSC value. This will tell you which is more inert or not. So in this case CFSC, this is also 12DQ and this is also 12DQ. So both are 12DQ, but I told that if EG level has electron in it, then it will be labile. So this is more labile than this one. Okay, and this is most labile. Then this is coming as labile. Here we have to find the CFSC. What will be CFSC? 4DQ. If weak Jahn-Teller distortion is there and CFSC is 4DQ, means low CFSC, and also Jahn-Teller distortion is weak, that means this is also labile. So between these two, this is more labile than this one. Between these two, this is more inert than this one. Okay, so how we will arrange most inert? Already you found, right? This is the most inert. The question was which is most inert. So this is most inert. But if you have to arrange in order, then how we will do? If this is A, this is B, this is C, and this is D, then it will be most inert. A is the most inert. Then which is inert? Then the D is inert. Then in this two labile, which is more labile? If strong Jahn-Teller means most labile, I told you, sorry. So C is the most labile, so it's in the end, and then B, because it is less labile than this one. So this way you have to you can arrange. Okay, so let us move to the next question, which is from December 2012 net question. So rate of exchange of water, you have to find out the order of that. Okay, so here also find out, see copper 2+ is D9 system, so you know it has strong Jandler distortion, that means it is labile. Now manganese 2+, manganese 2+ is D5 system, that means it has CFSC equals to 0, that means it is labile. Now for iron 2+, iron 2+ is a D6 system, so what is its configuration? T2G. Okay, so here it is having weak Jandler distortion because it is T2G4 and Eg2. So weak Jandler distortion is there. Then you have to find out CFSC. Okay, CFSC is 4TQ. Please check it by yourself. Okay, here nickel 2+. Here like before D8 system, so it is having T2G Eg2 and T2G 6. Okay, so here no Jandler distortion is there, that means it is in the inert category, but let us compare with the other. And this is weak Jandler distortion, means some Jandler distortion is there and CFSC is also very low, therefore it is in the labile. It is, you can call it labile. So here 3 you are getting labile, the first one, then second one, and this one. Then how will compare which is most labile? See, first thing is strong Jandler distortion. So if this is A, this is B, this is C, and this is D, then A is the most labile. So rate of exchange of water will be rate will be highest for A because it is most labile. Then I told next thing is CFSC 0, that means the B. Then next thing is labile, it is left as a labile. Then this is the inert category. So A, B, C and T. This will be your order. Okay, so this is nickel 2+, vanadium 2+, and chromium 3+. In this hydroxide complex of these 3 ions, you have to find out the rate of water exchange. Okay, so you have to take nickel H2O whole 6 2+ and vanadium 2+, vanadium H2O. This is the water hexaqua complex. Okay. So in this case, nickel 2+, is D8 system. Okay. So and vanadium 2+ is D3 system, and chromium 3+. Chromium is also D3 system. So in this case, it is T2G 6, T2G6, Eg2. 7, 8. Sorry, it is T2G, Eg2 and T2G 6. Yeah, it's okay. And here it is T2G 3. This is also T2G 3. Here if you check that there is no Jandler distortion, not strong, not weak, both is absent. And if you check CFSC, that is also 0. Yeah, not 0, non-zero, all are non-zero. So you cannot decide in that way. But here you can see no Jandler, that means they are in the inert category. If no Jandler distortion is there, that means in inert category all are them. But now we have to find out which is more. Now here electrons are there in the Eg level, that means this will be little bit labile than the other two. In the other two, electron configuration is also same. It is 3 electron T2G and 3 electron in the T2G levels. Now how we will decide? Again you have to see the oxidation state. If chromium 3 is having more oxidation state, that means actually CFSC value, means CFSC value of this complex will be less than the CFSC value of this one. This because of high crystal field splitting, because delta Z value is high for this one, CFSC will be high. That's why this will be more inert. And this is in the middle. So if you have to arrange these 3, how we will arrange A, B and C, then this is the most labile, that means this will undergo reaction, water exchange reaction in the highest rate, then B, and then it will be C. Okay, so that's all for today. I tried to cover all the question answer from inert and labile, and I think now you understood how to find out inert and labile complex very easily, only just by using the thing Jahn-Teller distortion and CFSE values. So this concept will be required for my next lecture, where I'll discuss about the inner sphere and outer sphere reactions. So please check this lecture very well, so that next day you will understand very easily and decide very easily which reaction will go through inner sphere or which will go through outer sphere. For today I'll finish here. So thank you very much for for the watching, and please like, share and subscribe if you like this video.